In 1836, this incredible mansion was built and was known for its opulence throughout New Orleans. But because of an event following the Civil War, it would gain notoriety for a very different reason. Initially, it was constructed for a dentist named Joseph Colon Gardet, but was sold in 1839 to a local merchant named Jean-Baptiste Lepret. Now, Lepret would have lavish parties and definitely show off in front of the local elite. This building came to be known locally as the Gardet-Lepret House after the two owners. However, when it came to partying, Lepret just couldn't hold a candle to the building's next owner. After the Civil War, a sultan from modern-day Turkey purchased this home on 716 Dauphine Street. Excitement spread around the city as the sultan arrived, and the spectacle only got bigger when he got here. His massive ship would dock on the river near Jackson Square, and out came his harem of women, followed by eunuch guards and slaves carrying furniture and chests of gold. The Sultan came out last, and they made their way down to the new home. The Sultan was now a permanent resident of the Crescent City, and people in the French Quarter said night after night they could hear all kinds of noises coming from here. Lavish parties and orgies would go on at all hours of the night, basically every night. So much noise could only be drowned out by Mother Nature. One evening, a violent storm hit the city, and the next day, a guy was walking and he heard something in the area he wasn't accustomed to. Silence. He noticed that the stairs were flowing with blood and called the police. When the cops broke in, they saw a rather macabre sight. Dozens of dead bodies with buku body parts laid all over the floor, which was layered in blood. 37 bodies in total, actually, with 0 survivors. But a note was found on a table that basically said, "Traitors get what they deserve," or something along those lines. Every one of the women, eunuch guards, and slaves were slain, but it wasn't until they ventured to the back courtyard when they would find the Sultan. Once in the courtyard, police found a freshly dug grave with a hand protruding from it. The Sultan was tortured and buried alive, but the scarier part is that the culprit or culprits were never found. However, an investigation was launched, and as it turns out, the Sultan wasn't who he claimed to be. In fact, the actual Sultan was still in the Middle East, and this guy was his brother, who was in hiding because he stole buku money and possessions from his Sultan brother. Assassins crept into the home under the cover of the storm and repaid the debts owed to the real Sultan. After this, the building was abandoned until the 1930s, when it was renovated and divided into apartments. It was later occupied by the New Orleans Academy of Art, but was forced to close down after most of its students were drafted into World War II. Once again, the building would go abandoned until real estate investors would buy and restore the building in the late 1960s. Today, it's an apartment complex, and while the current owner believes that the massacre was nothing more than an urban legend, she also believes that something supernatural does exist on this property. Paranormal activity has been rampant at this location since the massacre. People who have lived at the location report party noise at all hours of the night, which, let's face it, isn't all that strange considering the proximity to Bourbon Street. But they would also hear blood-curdling screams during the partying, which also isn't that out of the ordinary in New Orleans these days, unfortunately. Now, on many occasions, though, keys to these apartments would just disappear and never show up again. Tenants who have lived in the building have also reported many paranormal activities occurring, such as dark shadows and disembodied voices in the middle of the night. Phantom music can also be heard throughout the house, although the source can never be found. The apparition of a man believed to be the brother who was assassinated can also be seen roaming around the common areas of the building. It is noteworthy that there are no other historical records on the massacre and the events surrounding it other than Gardet-Lepret's families themselves. Whether you believe in this story or not, it has definitely been welded into Louisiana horror folklore. For more Louisiana horror stories, be sure to subscribe to Louisiana Dread on Patreon and visit our website, louisianadread.com. I'm Kyle Crosby, and this is Louisiana Dread.